came and described some visit she'd taken to a museum in Europe. She saw something. She described it in a way that shocked me because of the sensitivity that this poet brought to the world itself. So I was moved to write this poem called Startling. The poet arrived last night in New York City at the university amidst great fanfare. She introduced the poem, recalling how in a small museum, upon first sight of a 6-inch Daphne sculpture, her breathing had changed. After that startling revelation, all the rest is just words. This is a poem. Last fall over the summer, I took my son, who was a high school senior, for one of these road trips where we go up and visit a bunch of colleges and bond, and you have steak somewhere and make a list of which are the schools that you like the best and which ones you didn't like. Of course, when we were applying for schools this year, I said, "What about such and such school? Isn't that the one that you like the best?" He said, "Oh yeah, I didn't apply to that one." I said, "How come?" He said, "Oh, I forgot about that one." And I said, "Well, what about this school that you like? Remember we saw that? You said you hated it?" He said, "Oh yeah, but everybody applies to that one." So it made very little sense, but we had a great time. And here's a poem I wrote in the process called On the Steps. The step I was on was granite and gray. In the corner was dust and scraps of paper that fell from a pocket. A credit card receipt from Luigi's, perhaps, or a close friend, a receipt crumpled, or maybe the gas receipt from a trip to the mountains with a son looking for places for his future and trying to cement the present. My right foot was on the step above, my left below. I stood going neither up nor down, chatting, wondering what dinner would bring, whether it would rain, whether the Yankees would win. I'm asking the question, where was I and where should I go? So you know now that I don't like autumn, but I do love spring. And I don't know if it's because I was born in the spring, and spring, babies have this connection, or I just like spring. So I have written a few spring poems. And here is one called The First Sounds of Spring. Worms working their way through the surface, chasing robins all over the yard. And pussy willows popping the coatings back in splits as the fuzzy parts take over. Crocuses screaming and lilacs sticking their smells into everyone's face like they own the place. And then one blue jay saying to a red-winged blackbird, "Where are you from, cutie pie?" but in bird language, which sounds more like, you know that noise a cloud makes when it's crossing the sky from east to west? That noise. Then there was every once in a while you read a poem that's on everybody's refrigerator, or it's a Hallmark card. Everybody knows this poem and they send it out to people on birthdays and stuff like that. So I always said, that's like one of my goals. I want to have a poem on a refrigerator somewhere. Come into somebody's house and there is my poem. So this poem sort of comes off of that theory. It's called Declaration. I'll never be boring again. My words will sing, my stories entertain. All the words I use will sound fresh and colorful, tingle the ear, dazzle the eyes. Even the shape of the letters, K, T, Z, sharp angles where strong thoughts begin. O's, C's, and U's where smoother, round thoughts are conveyed. Clusters lumped in paragraphs, excitement, roller coasters for our eyes and ears. Popcorn, soda, pretzel, fear. Boring delivers daily, dawn to dusk, like time shoe, sharpening a pencil, taking off a sweater, it's just too hot. Picture of a tire on a street, mundane. The traffic light switching red to green, or green to yellow, with its pregnant tension of impending redness. I can't stand the tension, it's too much. And then I find people write from different ideas and different thoughts, and there's this whole thing on writers and poets and Facebook and all that, which are prompts, as if you didn't see anything in the newspaper or in the world or anything, and somebody said, microphone, say, wow, what an idea, I'll write a poem about that. So I happen to be a person who, depending on the prompt and who's giving the prompt, get prompted to come up with poems. And the prompt I saw the other day was radish. So, unfortunately, this is a poem you're going to find out about a radish. But I was taken with the idea of how we think about different things. So this is called Love Flavor. I know a radish from before, when I was a young man, and no one called me sir. I liked the radish, but I didn't understand that the love of a radish differed from the love of a child, or a cat, or tomatoes. Each love I learned is separate but equal, and leaves me thinking, is any love like another? And did I know the difference between my love for you and my love for him? If we look, it's clear that radish love has its own bite, its flavor and intensity. For I mildly love radishes, but some men love them strongly, where my love seems pale, like fond titillation, mild and out of school. Sort of along the line of prompts and looking for things to write about, I wrote this poem here called No Subjects. I wrote lots more poems, but there were no subjects available today. So I returned the words to their spaces in the dictionary and put the letters back in the alphabet until available suitable subjects arise. Then I need to just whistle, and the words come together as before. And this poem is called Centerfold, which I had written, and I'm actually relatively new as a poet. I got started on Facebook with a pen name or a fake profile, however you want to call it, and somebody said, gee, could we publish one of your poems? And I got a bunch of poems published, and I submitted a manuscript. This book here available, published, and one of the early poems I wrote, someone, you'd submit this poem and then you get an email back that says, we're delighted to publish your poem in this such and such manuscript or magazine or something like that. And you can't be more excited. This is sometimes an obscure magazine that there are about 10 times as many people in in this room, yes, there are that are actually going to read this magazine, but somebody has said what you wrote is okay. So it touches you profoundly. So I get this call, and actually, it's a cold winter day. I'm riding my bicycle home from my office in Manhattan, heading into Central Park, and I get this thing on my BlackBerry before I had the iPhone, and the battery is about to die. And the guy writes me back something that says, "You are banished from our journal. We are not publishing you. We are crossing off your name." I have almost no battery, but I can't believe that this is happening to me. And I call him up and I say, "You know, what is this?" "Oh, I misread your email, and no problem. Friends, don't worry about it." And it came out in time. The poem comes in, and I, of course, this is, you know, I send an email to every person I know, and then to some other people I don't know, and spread it out in the universe. And he writes, suddenly, in the history of this magazine, my poem has had more hits than anybody ever. So it goes to show what a little publicity can do for you. This poem was called Centerfold. But I'm usually more shy. I don't centerfold regularly. I don't centerfold happily. I centerfolded only a time or two my whole life, and I wasn't thrilled centerfolding at all. Shyness doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean you want to die or hide from each face like a butterfly. It doesn't mean you are timid looking, or speak with a quiet sound, or laugh only when laughed at, or sing when the voice is laryngitis hoarse, when even a cry won't sound. Shy is when inside you're scared and say truth to yourself never. When you must be shy because pain bars the doors. Even a fire in the stables won't let the horse escape. Burn before leaving. Put water in a dish left outside the stall and think it will hold back the flames. Only water will lash the storms of rage, the victims of self, crashing the rocky shore hard. The dish won't burn like the burning bush. Truth won't escape. Flames won't lick the dew off grass or upper lip. Stand tall. Remember, duty has no meaning in a colored light. Shifting sands mean everything. And after I told you about my bike, I'll tell you, I used to have a minivan, and I would put my bike in the minivan, and riding around Manhattan, you could go anywhere and park anywhere because you drop off family or wherever you were dropping off, and then you'd find a parking space that would be a mile away. You'd get out on your bike, you'd go to where you had to go. There's no sweat. It was a beautiful evening. And one day, down near NYU, going to the theater, someone decided to steal my bike after all these many, many years. And I wrote, "Bad theft. My bike was stolen tonight. My steady drive forever, taken, with just a cut lock in its place. A business card for the crook, the bum who took it away." I was not pleased. And since then, someone who I was teaching to drive, somebody who's 50 should have known how to drive, when they said to me, pointing to the brake, "That's the gas pedal," I should have said, "Let's have dinner or something." But instead, I lost that minivan and the bike. We have moved on. And I think that's getting near my time, so I'll read you this last poem now. This one is called Last Night. And it's one of these situations where, you know, you come home and you see your girlfriend or whoever is having returned from a hall event, and maybe a few too many glasses of wine or champagne,